a land of untouched jungles, ancient tribes, and secrets yet to be uncovered. Papua New Guinea is one of the last frontiers of true adventure. Are you ready to step into the unknown? More than 800 languages, volcanoes that shake the earth, and birds that carry poison. Papua New Guinea is like nowhere else on the planet. Here are the 11 most mind-blowing facts you need to know. Imagine a place where modern civilization barely scratches the surface, where dense rainforests hide undiscovered species and tribes live as they have for centuries. Welcome to Papua New Guinea. Fact No. 1. Papua New Guinea is one of the most culturally diverse countries on Earth. Papua New Guinea is home to an astonishing 840-plus languages, making it the most linguistically diverse country in the world. Imagine walking just a few miles and encountering a completely different language, culture, and way of life. With over 800 distinct ethnic groups, each community has its own traditions, beliefs, and even styles of dress. Many of these groups live in remote villages, untouched by modern society, where barter systems still replace cash transactions and ancient customs guide daily life. The country officially recognizes 3 languages: English, Tokpisin, and Hirimotu. But in rural areas, you're far more likely to hear locals speaking in their native tongues. Festivals play a major role in preserving this rich cultural tapestry, with the Hagen Show and Goroka Festival being 2 of the most vibrant. At these events, tribes from all over the country come together, showcasing stunning body paint, elaborate headdresses made from bird feathers, and mesmerizing traditional dances. One of the most iconic groups is the Asaro Mudmen, who cover themselves in white clay and wear eerie masks to appear ghostly and intimidating. Marriage customs are also unique here. Many families still practice bride price, where a man's family must offer pigs, shells, or even cash to the bride's family before marriage. And if that wasn't interesting enough, some coastal villages still practice shark calling, an ancient fishing method where men chant and use rattles to lure sharks to their boats. Despite all this diversity, rugby league unites the nation. It's more than just a sport. It's a passion shared by almost every Papua New Guinean. Fact No. 2. Papua New Guinea's landscape is a paradise for explorers and scientists. If you're a nature lover, Papua New Guinea is as close to paradise as it gets. About 77% of the country is covered in dense rainforests, hiding uncharted caves, untamed rivers, and towering mountain ranges. The island of New Guinea itself is the second largest island in the world, only beaten by Greenland. With such a vast and largely unexplored landmass, it's no surprise that scientists are still discovering new species of plants and animals. One of the most fascinating creatures found here is the hooded pitohui, the world's only known poisonous bird. Its feathers and skin contain a toxin similar to that of poisoned dart frogs, making it one of nature's few airborne chemical weapons. Beyond the jungle, Papua New Guinea's coral reefs are among the most spectacular in the world, attracting divers eager to explore WWII wrecks and colorful marine life. Due to its location on the Pacific Ring of Fire, the country is also home to dozens of active volcanoes, with eruptions, earthquakes, and even tsunamis occurring regularly. Some of these volcanoes, like Mount Taverver, create surreal landscapes where plumes of smoke and bubbling lava contrast against lush green surroundings. Meanwhile, deep in the highlands, isolated valleys remain so untouched that even satellite images can't fully map them. The Karawari Caves contain prehistoric rock art dating back over 20,000 years, offering a rare glimpse into the past. If you're an adventurer looking for a place still filled with mystery, Papua New Guinea is the ultimate destination. Fact No. 3. Papua New Guinea's economy runs on natural wealth but faces development challenges. Papua New Guinea might be rich in natural resources, but daily life for many locals is still a struggle. The country has massive reserves of gold, copper, oil, and natural gas, with mining being one of the biggest contributors to the economy. The Ok Tedi mine and Porgera mine are among the most important, producing tons of precious metals every year. In addition, PNG's waters hold some of the world's richest tuna fisheries, making the fishing industry another key economic driver. However, despite all this wealth, Poverty remains widespread and basic infrastructure is still underdeveloped. About 85% of the population relies on subsistence farming, growing crops like sweet potatoes, taro, and yams for survival. Many roads are in poor condition, and in the most remote areas, traveling from one village to another can take days by foot or small boats. Corruption has also been a persistent issue, with political instability making it difficult to implement long-term economic improvements. Tourism, while holding great potential, remains largely untapped due to safety concerns, lack of infrastructure, and the country's rugged terrain. The Papua New Guinean kina, the local currency, has also faced depreciation, making imported goods expensive. On the bright side, some major cities like Port Moresby and Lae are gradually modernizing, with new business developments and better facilities. Australia continues to provide substantial foreign aid to PNG, contributing hundreds of millions of dollars annually to improve healthcare, education, and infrastructure. Despite the challenges, Papua New Guinea's strong and resourceful people are working toward a future that balances economic growth with cultural and environmental preservation. Fact number 4. The cost of living in Papua New Guinea can be surprisingly high. Many people assume that living in Papua New Guinea is cheap, but the reality is a bit more complicated. While rural areas are incredibly affordable, with many people growing their own food and living off the land, the major cities, especially Port Moresby, can be shockingly expensive. The cost of imported goods is high due to the country's geographical isolation and limited infrastructure, making everyday essentials far pricier than in neighboring countries like Indonesia or the Philippines. Renting a decent apartment in Port Moresby can cost between $1,000 and $3,000 per month, depending on the location and security features. Expats and wealthier locals often live in gated communities because crime rates in some parts of the capital can be high. Food prices are also unpredictable. Local produce is cheap at the markets, but anything imported, such as dairy products, packaged foods, or alcohol, comes with a hefty price tag. A gallon of milk can cost over $12, and a dozen eggs can set you back $8. Transportation is another challenge. Public transport is unreliable, and most expats and middle-class locals rely on private cars, which are expensive to import and maintain. Fuel costs around $5 per gallon, and road conditions outside urban areas can be poor. Healthcare expenses can also add up, as public hospitals are underfunded, and most foreigners opt for private healthcare or even medical treatment in Australia or Singapore. On the bright side, if you're living in a village or smaller town, costs drop dramatically. Many people still live in traditional huts, house tambaran, with no rent, and they barter for goods rather than using cash. If you're okay with a simple local lifestyle, you can survive on less than $500 a month. But for a comfortable expat life in Port Moresby, expect to need at least $3,000 to $5,000 per month. Fact No. 5. Healthcare in Papua New Guinea is limited but improving. Healthcare in Papua New Guinea is a mixed bag. While the country has some modern hospitals in major cities, the public healthcare system struggles with underfunding, a lack of medical professionals, and outdated facilities. Many rural areas have little to no access to medical services, and people often rely on traditional medicine or travel long distances to seek treatment. In some remote villages, the nearest doctor can be several days' journey away. The government is working to improve healthcare access, with Australia providing millions of dollars in aid each year. Still, public hospitals often lack essential supplies, and the quality of care can be inconsistent. For expats and wealthier locals, private hospitals and clinics offer a higher standard of care, but they come at a cost. The best private hospitals are in Port Moresby and Lae, with facilities such as Pacific International Hospital and Paradise Private Hospital providing better medical services. Many expats and well-off Papua New Guineans choose to travel abroad for medical treatment, particularly to Australia, Singapore, or the Philippines. This is especially true for major surgeries or specialized care that isn't available locally. Having international health insurance is highly recommended if you plan to live in PNG, as serious medical emergencies may require expensive evacuation flights. Despite these challenges, there have been some positive developments. Efforts to combat malaria, tuberculosis, and maternal mortality have seen progress in recent years. Local organizations and international NGOs are also working to improve health education, especially in areas like childbirth, disease prevention, and nutrition. While Papua New Guinea's healthcare system still has a long way to go, it is gradually moving in the right direction. Fact No. 6. The best places to visit and live in Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea is a country of stunning landscapes, vibrant cultures, and untouched wilderness, making it an incredible place to explore. However, choosing where to live or visit depends on what you're looking for. Whether it's urban convenience, a laid-back island lifestyle, or a true off-the-grid adventure, Port Moresby, the capital, is the main hub for business, politics, and expat life. It's not the most charming city, but it has the country's best private hospitals, schools, and shopping centers. The city has a reputation for crime, but many expats live comfortably in secure compounds or waterfront apartments near Ella Beach. If you're looking for modern amenities, this is where you'll find them, but it comes at a high price. For a more relaxed atmosphere, Lae is a great alternative. It's Papua New Guinea's second-largest city and an important port town. Known for its cooler climate, lush botanical gardens, and growing economy. While it's not as developed as Port Moresby, it has a more laid-back feel and offers a lower cost of living. If you're after island paradise, Kokopo and Rabaul in East New Britain should be at the top of your list. These towns offer beautiful beaches, world-class diving spots, and a rich wartime history. Rabaul was once the most developed town in PNG before a volcanic eruption in 1994 buried it in ash. But it remains a must-visit for history buffs and adventure seekers. For nature lovers, the Highlands region offers breathtaking mountain scenery, cool weather, and a chance to experience tribal cultures up close. Goroka and Mount Hagen are the main towns here, famous for their annual cultural festivals featuring elaborate tribal dances and traditional attire. Living in the Highlands means a slower pace of life, but the community-oriented lifestyle and fresh mountain air make it a unique and rewarding experience. For those who love diving and marine life, Madang is an incredible place to visit or settle down. It's a tropical paradise with crystal-clear waters, vibrant coral reefs, and plenty of offshore islands to explore. It's often called one of the prettiest towns in the Pacific, and it has a peaceful, small-town charm. Each region of Papua New Guinea has something different to offer, whether it's city convenience, island beauty, or highland adventure. While the country is not the easiest place to live due to its infrastructure challenges, those who embrace the lifestyle find it to be one of the most rewarding and unique places on Earth. Fact No. 7. Papua New Guinea's wildlife is some of the most unique on Earth. If you love nature and wildlife, Papua New Guinea is like stepping into a real-life nature documentary. The country is home to over 11,000 species of plants, 250 species of mammals, and more than 700 species of birds, making it one of the most biologically diverse places on the planet. Scientists continue to discover new species here regularly, as much of the country's dense rainforest remains unexplored. One of PNG's most fascinating creatures is the hooded pitohui, which holds the title of the world's only poisonous bird. Its feathers and skin contain batrachotoxins, the same type of poison found in Colombia's deadly poison dart frogs. Simply touching this bird can cause numbness and irritation, making it one of nature's strangest defense mechanisms. The country is also home to tree kangaroos, a bizarre mix of a kangaroo and a monkey that lives in the forest canopy. Unlike their land-hopping cousins in Australia, these creatures climb trees with ease and are completely adapted to jungle life. Other iconic animals include the long-beaked echidna, a rare egg-laying mammal, and the Ragiana bird of paradise, which is featured on Papua New Guinea's national flag. Underwater, PNG is just as incredible. The coral reefs here are some of the most pristine in the world, teeming with colorful fish, sharks, and manta rays. Divers come from all over to explore the WWII shipwrecks that lie beneath the waters. With such an abundance of rare and exotic creatures, Papua New Guinea remains one of the most exciting destinations for wildlife enthusiasts. Fact No. 8: Papua New Guinea sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire, making it a land of volcanoes and earthquakes. Living in Papua New Guinea means coexisting with nature's raw power. The country sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire, one of the most geologically active regions in the world. This means frequent volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and even tsunamis are part of life here. Some towns have even been buried under ash and had to be rebuilt due to volcanic activity. One of the most active volcanoes is Mount Tavurvur, which erupted in 1994, completely destroying the town of Rabaul. The explosion was so powerful that it darkened the skies for days, and the entire town had to be abandoned. To this day, Rabaul remains partially covered in ash, giving it an eerie, post-apocalyptic look. Despite this, many locals still live there, adapting to the ever-present risk of another eruption. Another famous volcano is Mount Ulawun, one of the tallest and most active volcanoes in PNG. It has erupted over 20 times in the last century and continues to be closely monitored. Due to its location on shifting tectonic plates, Papua New Guinea also experiences regular earthquakes, some of which have triggered deadly tsunamis along the coastline. While this might sound terrifying, locals have learned to live with these natural disasters. Many of the island's traditional houses are built using flexible materials like bamboo and palm leaves, making them more resistant to earthquakes. Scientists and disaster management teams work hard to monitor volcanic activity, but nature ultimately rules in this wild and unpredictable land. Fact No. 9: traditional practices and rituals still play a huge role in daily life. Despite modern influences, Papua New Guinea is still deeply rooted in traditional customs, beliefs, and ceremonies. Many remote communities follow rituals that have been practiced for thousands of years, passed down from generation to generation. In some parts of the country, sorcery and magic are still widely believed in, and disputes can even be settled through traditional healers or shamans. One of the most famous tribal customs is the initiation ceremonies for young men. In some highland tribes, boys undergo painful scarification rituals, where their skin is cut to resemble the scales of a crocodile. This marks their transition into adulthood and is seen as a symbol of strength and bravery. The Sepik River tribes are particularly known for these intense ceremonies, where young boys live in spirit houses for weeks before they are considered men. Elaborate face painting and headdresses are also a huge part of PNG's culture. During festivals and ceremonies, tribal members wear intricate body paint and adorn themselves with feathers, beads, and shells to honor their ancestors. The Huli wigmen of the highlands are famous for their handmade wigs, which are grown from their own hair and shaped into elaborate designs. Death rituals are also unique in some areas. In certain parts of the country, mummification is still practiced, where bodies are smoked and preserved as a way to honor the dead. Some communities believe that spirits remain present among the living, and special ceremonies are performed to guide them into the afterlife. Even in more modernized areas, these traditions remain a core part of Papua New Guinean identity. Whether it's in music, dance, or spiritual beliefs, the country continues to celebrate its heritage while slowly adapting to the modern world. Fact number 10: Papua New Guinea's history is shaped by colonial rule and fierce independence. Papua New Guinea's history is as wild and complex as its landscape. For thousands of years, the island was home to indigenous tribes who lived in isolated communities, developing their own languages, traditions, and ways of life. But in the 19th century, European powers set their sights on the region, forever changing its future. Germany controlled the northern half of the country, while Britain and later Australia governed the southern half. During World War I, Australia took control of the German territories, and Papua New Guinea remained under Australian administration until it gained full independence in 1975. Unlike many other colonies, Papua New Guinea's fight for independence was relatively peaceful, and it became one of the last countries in the world to break free from colonial rule in the 20th century. Despite gaining sovereignty, remnants of colonial influence remain. The legal system, government, and education system still reflect Australian and British structures, and English is an official language, even though most Papua New Guineans don't speak it as their first language. The country also faces ongoing struggles with political instability, as modern governance clashes with deeply rooted tribal traditions. One of the most unique aspects of PNG's history is its role in World War II. The island became a major battleground between Japan and the Allies, with fierce jungle warfare taking place across the region. The Kokoda Track campaign is one of the most famous battles, where Australian troops and local Fuzzy Wuzzy Angels, Papua New Guinean guides, played a crucial role in stopping the Japanese advance. Today, the remnants of war, crashed planes, sunken ships, and abandoned bunkers can still be found across the country, attracting history buffs and adventurers alike. Even though Papua New Guinea has faced political and economic challenges since independence, the country remains fiercely proud of its identity, culture, and traditions, determined to carve out its own unique path in the modern world. Fact No. 11. Papua New Guinea is a hidden paradise for adventurers and nature lovers. If there's one thing that makes Papua New Guinea stand out, it's the unparalleled natural beauty and adventure opportunities. This country is not your typical tourist destination. It's rugged, remote, and at times difficult to navigate. But for those willing to take the journey, the rewards are unforgettable landscapes, breathtaking wildlife, and one-of-a-kind cultural experiences. For hikers, the Kokoda Track is an absolute must. This historic trail stretches 60 miles, 96 kilometers, through dense jungle, steep mountain ranges, and muddy paths. It's both a physical and emotional challenge, as it follows the footsteps of WWII soldiers who fought in brutal conditions. Many travelers describe it as a life-changing experience, offering both adventure and a deep appreciation for history. For divers, the waters around Kimby Bay, Milne Bay, and Madang offer some of the best diving spots in the world. The coral reefs here are teeming with life, and the wreckage of WWII planes and ships makes for incredible underwater exploration. The Bismarck Sea is home to massive schools of fish, sharks, manta rays, and even rare species that can't be found anywhere else. For cultural enthusiasts, the Goroka Show and Mount Hagen Festival are legendary. These annual events bring together hundreds of tribes, each displaying their unique customs, dances, and elaborate traditional dress. It's one of the few places in the world where you can witness such raw, authentic cultural expression in one gathering. If relaxation is more your style, the islands of East New Britain and New Ireland offer pristine beaches, crystal-clear waters, and a much slower pace of life. Kokopo and Rabaul are particularly stunning, with volcanic backdrops and some of the friendliest people you'll ever meet. Whether you're looking for thrill-seeking adventures, cultural immersion, or simply a break from the modern world, Papua New Guinea has something to offer. It's one of the last truly wild frontiers on the planet, and for those who dare to explore it, the experience is nothing short of extraordinary. Papua New Guinea is one of the last true frontiers on Earth, a place where ancient traditions, untouched landscapes, and rare wildlife create an experience unlike anywhere else. From its 840-plus languages and mysterious tribes to its volcanic landscapes and world-class diving spots, this country remains a hidden gem for those who crave adventure. While challenges like infrastructure, high living costs, and political instability make it a tough place to settle, the rich culture and natural beauty make it worth the journey. Whether you're hiking the legendary Kokoda Track, diving among WWII shipwrecks, or witnessing tribal festivals, Papua New Guinea promises something truly unique. If you're looking for a destination that is wild, untamed, and completely unforgettable, this is the place to be.